In today's news, 6-year-old girl from Thailand is rescued from being sexually abused by a family member. Two men from Brazil are freed from a working scheme that they were caught in Myanmar, and 260 work slaves are set free by International Justice Mission. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today to the Human Horrors Prevention broadcast. We are going to be looking at three powerful stories of work that is taking place by anti trafficking organizations around the world to see how they are setting people free. I'm excited to share this news with you guys to encourage you so that you can join in to the fight against human trafficking yourselves. So, today we're going to start out with a story from Operation Underground Railroad. This is the acronym OUR. So, let's jump into the story now. Our Rescue works with Thailand ICAC to rescue 6-year-old girl. So on February 19, that's 2025, the year of this recording, a coordinated effort between Our Rescue and Thailand's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force led to the successful rescue of a 6-year-old girl and the arrest of the family member who was abusing her. So, reading on, the TICAC, supported by High Tech Crime Division, requested our rescue support with the investigation, and in 3 days they verified who the offender was. They confirmed the address where the crimes were taking place, and they gathered other crucial information. On the day of the operation, our rescue accompanied authorities to the location of the suspect and survivor, ensuring that the 6-year-old kindergartner was immediately placed in the care of professionals who could support her needs. Now, the 6-year-old child had suffered repeated sexual abuse at the hands of her relative with whom she lived. The abuse took place within their home, often when their grandmother was absent. The perpetrator used threats of physical harm to silence the survivor and keep her from talking about the exploitation. Following on, it says the offender was charged with possessing child sexual abuse material and for sexually abusing a minor. During questioning, he confessed to all of the charges. Our rescue remains committed to supporting the survivor's healing, ensuring she receives trauma informed care tailored to her young age. Moving forward, child friendly language and developmentally appropriate communication will be key in helping her express her experiences and needs, obviously, so that she can get the help that she needs. This case highlights the critical importance of rapid intervention. We are incredibly grateful to the Thailand authorities for their dedicated work. Through collaborative efforts, we continue to fight against child exploitation, ensuring that no child suffers in silence. Now, this story, unfortunately, is just so common in the world today. A young child, she's in kindergarten. Now, I have a daughter right now. She's 4. Next year, she's going to be going into kindergarten. And you just think of someone so young, so precious, so innocent, and they're being taken advantage of, sexually abused. It's is one of the most evil things that exists in our world, and we can fight against it. And I'm so glad that Operation Underground Railroad is there to save children like her. And you'd think that, well, it's in the other side of the world, right? It's Thailand. Of course it's going to happen in Thailand, but the sad reality is that it happens here in the West as well. It happens in Canada. It happens in the United States. In fact, it happens all the time. And this is something that we need to be aware of. It's something that we need to fight against because God's children are not for sale. We cannot see them being abused, sexually abused by their own family. It's just so disgusting. And I'm so glad that he confessed to all the charges and he is being removed and justice was brought in this situation. So that's Operation Underground Railroad. I want to move on to the next story now. The story about two Brazilian men. So this is from International Justice, no, Exodus Road, pardon me. This is from the Exodus Road. Major trafficking case leads to freedom for two Brazilian men in Myanmar. So the Exodus Roads Brazil team supports major trafficking case leading to freedom for two Brazilian men. The Exodus Roads Brazil country director Cynthia Morellas supported the freedom of two Brazilian men who were exploited in a human trafficking racket within cyber scamming compounds in Myanmar. So, Brazilians Lucas Viana dos Santos and Felipe de Moura Ferreira, 31 and 26 years old, were separately lured into Myanmar in October and November of 2024. So they've been there October, November, December, January. They've been there for 4 months with false job promises. They were trafficked to a compound in a town on the border of Myanmar and Thailand, where they were held and forced to work in support of a digital scamming operation for 3 months. Their roles were to gain the trust of unsuspecting victims around the world in an attempt to fool them and extort them for money. The crime, often referred to as pig butchering, is believed to have defrauded victims of more than 3 trillion American, that's crazy, $3 trillion. So they're gaining the trust of people over the internet, over the phone. They're probably presenting a story like, hey, I need money to help my dad who's sick, he needs this money, something like that. They get the money from innocent people who are trying to do good, and then they obviously give it to the people who are trafficking them. $3 trillion. It says the prisoners were subject to severe physical abuse if they protested the cyber scamming operations they were required to perform. So the Brazilian authorities are noted, and the Exodus Road comes in, and reflecting on the weight of the situation, Morella says the rescue of the Brazilians in Myanmar was one of the most profound moments of my journey. Seeing Lucas and Felipe finally free after everything they endured was both an immense relief and a powerful reminder of why this work is so essential. Restoring their freedom was priceless. But witnessing Lucas reunited with his mother, let's get the picture there, reunited with his mother, and Felipe embraced by his father and his family was beyond words. Watching these reunions was a moment I will never forget. Wow. It says they landed back in Sao Paulo, Brazil, February 19, 2025. That's amazing. Emotional reunion with their families who are eagerly awaiting their return. I'm very happy and feeling very safe. I'm grateful to everyone, the NGOs and the press. Now I want to rest everything that I haven't rested in these months, Felipe de Moura Ferreira told the press. Both men are back in Brazil, jumping to the end, each pursuing stable, non-exploitative jobs. A fundraiser has been established to help these men cover their expenses as they restart their lives after the ordeal. And there's them on the plane back home. That is wonderful. So the more you learn about human trafficking, the more you'll realize that what happened to these two men is actually so common. There is a promise of a job offer, and it's usually the traffickers are looking for people who are in a situation where they need work and they need it desperately. And so they offer them these jobs. Hey, come and work for me. I have a job in cybersecurity, something like that for you, like these two men, right? And then they get there and they're just being taken advantage of. And usually their identification is taken away, their method of communication, their phones and internet access is taken away, and then they're forced to work in brutal conditions, like it said, being physically abused when they don't comply. And again, we need organizations like the Exodus Road who can go in, who can be in Brazil, who can fight and advocate for the freedom of the men who are being held in slavery. Now, there's three main types of human trafficking that take place in our world today, and we've covered two of them already. The first one is sex trafficking or prostitution, or people being forced into the pornography industry. And that's what we saw with the young girl, the 6-year-old girl. She was being sexually abused. It doesn't seem like she was being sold by her relative, but when children are being sold, they're being sex trafficked. So that's the first kind, and it's so evil in our world today. The second kind we looked at is trafficking for work, labor trafficking, where people are being scammed, they're being tricked into a career, into a job that isn't actually what they were looking for, and now they're being forced to work for usually no pay. They're being abused, the work conditions are inhumane, and so that's what's taking place in this second kind of trafficking. And then the third kind of trafficking, which we don't have a story about today, but is prevalent in our world today, is organ trafficking, where people are being taken and their organs are being surgically removed so that they can be sold on the black market for insane amounts of money. And so that's the third type of trafficking. And these three main types are what we're fighting against: sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and organ harvesting trafficking. So, guys, I want to give you the third and final story today. It's a win. Let's end on a high note. So, this is from International Justice Mission. And it says nearly 260 workers freed from Myanmar scam compounds identified as trafficking victims in Thailand. So, International Justice Mission praises collaboration between Thai authorities and nonprofit organization partners. Last week, Bangkok, Thailand, 260 people from 19 different countries working in industrial scale online scamming operations based in Myanmar were released by ethnic armed militia group and handed over to Thai authorities across the border in Thailand. These scamming complexes are notorious for trafficking victims into horrific working conditions involving constant surveillance, threats of physical punishment, and beatings. Over the weekend, Thai officials identified 258 of the freed individuals as human trafficking victims under Thailand's national referral mechanism for protecting victims of trafficking. So, same thing here. These 258 individuals were tricked into an online scamming operation. Again, constantly under surveillance, threats of physical punishment, being abused. Jumping down, it says this is the beginning of one of the largest releases of victims from the scam compounds in Myanmar, with hundreds of thousands expected to be freed in the coming weeks. And if we get news of this, I will share it with you guys. Hundreds or thousands expected to be freed in the coming weeks. Let's be praying and supporting for their release. We're grateful for the Thai government and nonprofit organizations we partner with to free these slaves. If you jump down to here, we got a testimony. Gavesh, a survivor of forced scamming who was trafficked to Myanmar, released, assisted by IJM, and sent back to Sri Lanka in 2023, expressed relief upon hearing the news. I am glad that more people are coming out of the compounds. I know they went through horrific experiences. I hope that even more victims will be freed and safely returned to their home countries. So this is the three stories we have for today. I hope you guys are encouraged. I hope you guys would consider supporting one or all of these organizations. I myself have supported them and are supporting them. We have Operation Underground Railroad, we have the Exodus Road, and we have International Justice Mission. Now, I want to give a special spotlight this month to IJM. So, if you guys will stick with me, we're going to just check out their website, see what they're all about, and how we can support the great work that they're doing around the world. So, back to IJM website. Let's hop over and see what they're all about. The largest anti slavery organization in the world. Together, we can end slavery in our lifetime. And that's what our prayer is here at Go Free. Together, we can build a safer, more just world. Women, children, and men face the reality of modern slavery, exploitation, and abuse every day because people in power prey on the vulnerabilities that poverty creates. We're on a mission to partner with local communities to build a more just world where everyone can expect to be safe and protected. And that's our basic rights: to be safe, to be protected, to not be exploited. So here we can see their method to strengthen justice systems, to bring criminals to justice, rescue and restore victims, and scale demand for protection. If you guys go on their website, which is ijm.ca, you can find out more about the work that they do. You can get involved. If you're in a church, you can start a fundraiser, advocacy, prayer. If you guys sign up, this is something that I encourage you to do, is to go on their website, go on all of their websites, the ones that we looked at today, and they'll send you newsletters every month, and they'll also send you prayer requests every month. And so you can see what they're working on and you can partner with them, because there is power in prayer. We believe it. And another thing that you can do as well, if we jump back to their website, is you can give now. And this really is so powerful, because obviously these organizations, they need funds to fund the work that they do. Obviously God is their source, we know that, and God uses us to bless them in the work that they're doing. So like I said, I believe in them. I believe in the work they're doing. I myself have supported them as well, and I want to encourage you guys to consider supporting these organizations yourselves. So that's it for today's video. I pray you guys are encouraged. I pray that you go out and make a difference. Something that I've been thinking about myself is, what am I doing that lasts into eternity? Right? We do a lot of stuff throughout the day. We spend a lot of time working, but how much of the stuff that we spend time on actually will last into eternity? And that's why I try to make these videos and record these testimonies, is because that is going to last into eternity. The work that we do, the difference that we make, the support that we give, that's going to last for all eternity. And that's what really matters. And so, would you consider doing something that lasts for all eternity, freeing a child from slavery? That will restore their whole life. They'll find Christ, I believe it, in the midst of it. That will change their eternal destination. So thank you guys again so much. This has been the Human Horror Prevention broadcast, and we will see you next month with more stories about the great work that's taking place in our world to end slavery forever.